Coming up this week on the Course of Life podcast, it is a major championship week, and we have all the tea from Southern Hills, from our picks to Phil's absence, a conspiracy theory, and a little gossip on Tiger, the Saudi Tour, and more, plus a DP World Tour record set in Belgium. We're tuned into all things throwback music. This week's guest, another big one, Alissa Kacar. You know her as New Lady Golfer on Instagram, and she joins us to talk about all her travels and the awesome things she's doing in golf and for the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines. Plus, it was a Boston sports Game 7 weekend, and an epic one at that. And we're talking chicken and anniversary recap when we always end with food. All of it brought to you by our friends at DesertFoxGolf.com. Mike, I gotta say, I figured out a new use for the phone caddy, and it is while you're golfing. Not only can you use the phone caddy as a great little prop to hold up your phone right on that pole in your golf cart so it's easy to use and be seen at all times, but you can also put your phone caddy around a push cart as well, too. So If you get the right handlebar set up for a push cart like I do, you can use it when you're walking or riding on the golf course. Nonetheless, the phone caddy is our go-to accessory, and you can get your phone caddy at DesertFoxGolf.com. Promo code Course of Life to save 10% off. Again, check out all the different makes and models and colors of the phone caddy at DesertFoxGolf.com. Use promo code Course of Life to save 10% off your phone caddy today.
Hello, interwebs, and welcome to Course of Life, part of the Morning Read Podcast Network. We are proud to be presented by our friends at Desert Fox Golf, Toasty Snacks, and Volvic. I'm Michael. He's Alex. And Alex, they were in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area in McKinney, Texas for the AT&T Byron Nelson at TPC Craig Ranch. We had a hell of a start to this tournament with a 60 by Sebastian Munoz, setting the course record real early. Your pick there just came flying out of the gate. He couldn't hold on, though, as the week went on, and K.H. Lee goes back-to-back to repeat and claims the title once again. On Sunday, he just pulled away from the field and no one could seem to get to him.
No, not at all. And it took a lot to get away from the field. As we predicted, massive birdie fest again in back-to-back years here at Craig Ranch. Just a completely defenseless course. Started with that 60 from my guy Munoz, who's from the Dallas area. Mike, I was very heavy on Dallas area picks this past week, and a couple of them were flirting around the leaderboard. Him and a guy named Jordan Spieth as well, too. But yeah, K.H. Lee just resilient and just showed up on the weekend just like he did last year. Made clutch saves when he needed to, especially that one at 17 to preserve the lead. And this is officially a horses for courses case. This guy has only won twice on the PGA Tour, and both wins are at the same venue. So he just freaking loves this track, and he never wants to leave.
Yeah, he seems to be awfully comfortable all week there with sub 70 rounds every day, as most everyone really did have, except for Xander Schauffele, who made a fantastic run with a 61 on Sunday and was a leader in the clubhouse for quite a while. Jordan Spieth, like you said, hosting a couple other players at his home in the Dallas area. Tried to make a run there, couldn't quite finish at the end. He was in good position for most of the week. Like you said, Lee definitely seems to be the guy to put money on now. So next year, if we're not putting $1 on Lee, then we've either forgotten or we're dumb.
Right. And I mean, it's interesting because with our picks, I'm at Course of Life 1 and you're at MWRNC on Twitter. We never really go down that path of, just pick the defending champion. He loves it here because you think about how unlikely it is that happens. But nonetheless, K.H. Lee proving everyone wrong, back into the winner's circle. He redons the cowboy hat again. So shout out to K.H. Lee. Want to quickly shout out a friend of the show as well, too, who we had previously on the podcast. Be sure to check out our archive episodes for all our great older interviews. We had a conversation previously with Conrad Schindler, Mike, who you remember is also
yes.
from that Dallas area. Not only did he Monday qualify this past week for TPC Craig Ranch, but he made it to the weekend. He played the weekend, made the cut, survived, and played all 4 rounds there. We haven't seen him on tour play all 4 rounds in a while. It was good to see his name back on the leaderboards on the right tour where he deserves to be. So shout out to a friend of the show for playing all 4 in Dallas.
Let's hop across the Atlantic Ocean and talk about the DP World Tour because, we've had a past guest on this show who was 16 when he made a cut on the PGA Tour, but
true.
Someone a little younger did it this weekend over there.
Yeah, they just get younger and younger, right? And make us feel more inadequate about our golf games as well, too,
Always.
at the same time. It's great. It's great how that works. Yeah, no, we've doubled down on Tad Fujikawa's feat of being 16 years old and making the cut on the PGA Tour. 14 years young, Lev Grinberg making the cut at the Soudal Open in Belgium this past week. Mike, 14 years old, makes the cut, plays the weekend. He gets interviewed after his round on Sunday, and they ask him about his goals. And he says he wants to win every major and the FedEx Cup, obviously. So he's got very moderate goals for a 14-year-old. So that begs the question, Mike, what was your golf game looking like at 14 years old?
Not very good.
I was
maybe if I was lucky, it was not very good.
If I'm lucky, breaking 90, maybe, just trying to make a bogey on every hole if I can. This guy doing a lot more than that. The 14-year-old Grinberg, 5 over, I think, for the week. Final round 76, but nonetheless, he was competitive and around par the entire week against the pros. So definitely get used to hearing that name, Liv Grinberg, again.
Let's talk about how inadequate our own rounds of golf were this week, because we did play ourselves once again in a D3 round. That's a $, app, which lets us play against each other for money via remote courses and play whenever we want and be able to see who's the better golfer. And I was the better golfer this weekend.
You were, and it's very interesting how D3 works specifically because there's several different formats within the app that you can play by. You can just play kind of straight up stroke, but you can also use each other's handicaps. So that way formats like Nassau's and Stableford's all come into play and allow you to be competitive with anyone, anywhere. And even a person like yourself who's 1,000 miles away from me, we can play our head-to-head match. I thought I had a pretty good day out there. I shot the same score as Lev Grinberg, Mike. I shot a 5 over 76. However, it was on a pretty easy course, okay? Admittedly, a Muni course here in Austin, Texas. And because of that, course difficulty is a factor that's played into these D3 matches and how many shots I'm giving you. So I played well, but it wasn't enough. So you got the victory. So congrats, sir.
Yeah, and this was with a short run of pretty horrible play for me. Where,
oh yeah, you had some adversity out there, I guess.
I did, and the short game kind of collapsed for a couple holes, where it was just like one horrible fat shot after another, but then rallied at the end with 2 pars and a couple bogeys on the back, the second half of the back 9 to kind of rally myself to victory there at the end. So I will take my win all the way to the bank. And we're gonna do another match soon, and we're gonna do it with the D3 CEO, past guest of this podcast as well.
Yeah, we'll have Tom Nairmore back on as well too. And if anyone wants to challenge us out there, be sure to download the D3 Golf app, and you can look us up and find us for your next round on the course as well.
Let's talk about Phil Mickelson, shall we?
Because it's gossip time, yeah. It's gossip time.
PGA week, and let's lead it off with the breaking news that came out on Friday, which was not Phil Mickelson saying it, but the PGA saying, hey, BT Dubs, Phil Mickelson is not going to be playing this major championship. So here's the question. Is he just not playing because he is now fully committed to the LIV Tour and he just doesn't want to touch the PGA Tour anymore? Or has he been suspended?
Yeah, I really do think it's the latter. And this was like a maybe a juicy conspiracy theory a few weeks ago. I think this is now might be the leader in the clubhouse, actually. Him not making this announcement was a good pickup by you too. The fact that the PGA released this, basically letting us know, like, hey, this guy's not playing in the tournament, and we're not even really giving him the moment to tell you he's not. We're letting you know he's not playing in this tournament. So it does feel like he's serving one of those top secret, classified, level 5, do not touch this file suspensions from the PGA Tour. We've heard about these happening in the past. They do a very good job of covering these up at any corner possible. It does feel like that's the case right now. We were all kind of leaning for the last month or two and thinking he'd return to defend his title, right? How amazing is it, Mike? It was just a year ago he won this same event. Look where we are now.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting year in general for the PGA, and I mean, I think if Phil has been suspended by the tour, then I think that really pushed him maybe all the way to say, like, screw you guys, I'm going to this LIV tour.
Yeah, or it was happening amid the remarks, like basically amid the remarks. They told him he was going to be suspended. He said, well, I mean, screw it. I'm the PGA Tour is already going to suspend me for a few months. Might as well just say, like, what's really on my mind and just let it all fly right now. I guess if I give any olive branch to Phil, I'll extend that one to him. If it makes sense to go scorched earth if you've already been suspended, I'll give him that one.
Yeah, it really does, and it's interesting that it also happens this year, 2022, because don't you remember that this was supposed to be the PGA at Trump Bedminster in New Jersey?
Yes,
and of course, it was like January 11th of 2021. Okay, the PGA Tour decided, no, we're going to move this somewhere else.
Yeah, I think there was something that happened before that affected that decision, and here we are now reaping the benefits of that. So, alas, it is at Southern Hills where they hosted the 07 PGA Championship last. That is an interesting tidbit, because it's been all that time now, and all this controversy just kind of swirls as well as Phil ponders LIV Golf and there's been more that's come from the LIV Saudi Golf in the way of gossip, is right. But this time it didn't come from Greg Norman, which is the shocking thing.
No, there was an article published today on the Fire Pit Collective by Michael Bamberger.
Got it.
I'm horrible with last names. We've documented this well on this podcast, in which he talked to Jack Nicklaus, and Jack said that, speaking of the LIV Tour, that Jack was offered over $100 million by the Saudis to go do what Greg Norman is essentially doing now.
He was just offered the Greg Norman job, basically, just to just be the figurehead and just start shouting from the rooftops and make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And what's great here, and what we all, I didn't really realize either until I read this article, is that, Jack Nicklaus and a lot of other guys in his time created the PGA Tour. They formed what we know as the PGA Tour. So if they were able to steal Jack away, I mean, that would have been the ultimate get.
Oh, yeah. Jesus. I mean, thinking in hindsight, imagine if they had landed Jack for this instead of Greg Norman. Wow, yeah. What a difference that PR move makes. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, Jack Nicklaus backing the Saudis makes you, like, want to put your arm around the Saudis and see if they're okay, right? You know what I mean? It just it changes the perspective a little bit on the whole thing.
It really does. It really does. Jack did not, so we don't need to worry about that. Greg Norman, meanwhile, is just continuing to torpedo his legacy, and Phil is just jumping on the bandwagon, and that's where we're getting out there now.
Yeah,
so
that's this week, Mike, we're going to be back to this next week. I know for a fact, because this week, that gigantic tell-all by Alan Shipnuck is officially being released. So we're going to circle back to this next week because there are excerpts flying out left and right, Phil stories for days. So this is definitely not the last we've heard of Phil status. The interesting thing, as we sit with this current setting right now in PGA Championship Week, is we've got all this drama around Phil Mickelson. And now to transition to what's actually going to happen on the golf course, Tiger's going to play again.
Yeah, Tiger seems to be eyeing to play all 4 majors this year, I'd say, it looks like.
Wild, which is just wild in hindsight. I love that we're kind of just seeing him at majors. It's just like big tourneys only for Tiger. That's how you know to get up as a golf fan. It's like, oh, okay, Tiger's playing. This is the real deal then. So he's back on campus at Southern Hills. Admittedly, walking a little gingerly from video I'd seen earlier in the week, but he's getting in his practice reps. It's just funny to me, the dichotomy of Phil and Tiger right now. Usually Phil was such the fan favorite, calm, cool, collected guy on all the positive headlines. And it's the complete opposite. We're going for Phil's throat right now. And Tiger Woods news headlines just seem like a soft landing. It's a strange state right now as we head into the second major.
Yeah, it's kind of comforting right now to talk about Tiger, isn't it? It's kind of,
and he's going
like
off at 50
like an old
1,
friend.
Mike. 50 to 1 odds on Tiger Woods.
That's awfully generous. I mean, I don't think I wouldn't put money on him because I wouldn't get paid enough if he won. That's not good enough to me.
Oh, $5 to win 250? Yeah, I'll take that for groceries. I'm not mad at that. Mad at that. So
I'm good.
We'll figure out exactly who we pick on Twitter, but I don't know. He could be part of the card. We'll see.
Yeah. Let me say one thing though. Just talking about who you should consider putting money on if you want to pick the winner is that outside of Phil Mickelson, the previous 8 winners of the PGA, with the exception of Justin Thomas in 2017, have had a top 20 or better finish in their previous start. So,
okay. So yours all form. You're looking at who's hot, who played well last week.
Morikawa was T20 in his previous start before winning in 2020. Brooks Koepka in 18 and 19, 5th and 4th respectively. Justin Thomas in 2017 was T28 in his previous start. Jimmy Walker in 2016 was T14. Jason Day in 2015 was T12 in his previous. Rory in 2014 won his previous start. Duffner in 13 was T4, and Rory in 2012 was T5.
All right, so it sounds like you're gonna be leaning towards either Jordan Spieth or Justin Thomas because both those guys are in form right now.
Or Xander even was looking great, and I know he's not, And again, we've been riding him, and I don't know if I really want to put $1 on him for it, but I mean Keegan Bradley, he's just had a hot start to the season. He's playing really well. It's just, can he put 4 really good rounds together?
Not only is Keegan on my list, he is on my team for my Run Your Pool 6-pack of picks for the PGA. So
there it is.
I've rostered Keegan Bradley this week, definitely. The eyes are firing, as I like to say. He's a notoriously streaky player. If he's riding the hot hand at the table, you keep betting on him. So he's definitely part of my card. I said I'll throw Tiger on there for funsies. Maybe looking a little bit further down the list, how about Max Homa? How about one of the hottest golfers in the world who's going off pretty low? He's a tier 3 guy and Run Your Pool, but you can see him around the 40, 50, 60 to 1 mark. And Seamus Power is a guy that's now won on the PGA Tour. You've seen me back him several times on over. I didn't bet on the week that he won, but this is a guy with a good ball striking record. He shows up in a lot of statistical models. If you're the nerd out there that likes to follow the numbers, that's a pick you could look at a little bit further down the field. Any random names for you to throw out?
He's random. I'm not going to put money on Tiger, but I might put money on this really old guy, and that would be Stuart Sink.
Oh,
he's still playing great. He, top 10s in his last 4 starts, like we were saying here. So he's bringing in some form, and we know, he's a really good player. We know he is
major champion. He is. Yep. People forget he stole that major championship from Tom Watson. Never forget. So, yeah, okay, all right, that's an interesting name. So check out Twitter. I'm at Course of Life 1 again, and you're at MWRINC. You can check out runyourpool.com for my full debriefing, previewing everything going on this week at Southern Hills. Should be a good one.
Let's switch over to Tuned In, where we share what we're tuning into outside of the world of sports. We're both kind of doing a little bit of throwback this week.
Yes, big time. A YouTube rabbit hole alert incoming, so brace yourself. This one I think you can get down with, though. You know how I'm very keen, and I have lots of fondness and lots of remembrance towards the 90s MTV era. The MTV that we grew up on, where they actually played music videos,
and Total Request Live, and all
that's
that
right.
stuff.
The old MTV Cribs, the old school MTV, where the network really won me over. So I found this entire set of throwback channels on YouTube, and I've been watching these MTV throwback videos, everything from like the behind the scenes of the Y2K night production of MTV. How about that? And when we thought the whole world was going to explode, and Carson Daly was here to remind us that everything is going to be okay, and everything was okay, by the way, as well, too. To class photo shoots where Limp Bizkit is sitting next to the Goo Goo Dolls and Britney Spears at an MTV photo shoot. So I've been going down that rabbit hole recently, just getting back on my old MTV glory.
That's pretty awesome. How much Shaggy have you found in your throwback video?
Oh, yeah, yes, Mr. Lava Lava, of course.
Yeah, because I think this is a result of typically when we're driving in the car together, me and my wife, she has Pandora on or something, and she created a number of weeks ago when we first found out that we were going to have Pat Monahan of Train on the podcast, who was on last week. If you haven't heard last week's episode, make sure you go back and listen. She started a new playlist on Train and kind of that 90s, early 2000s kind of music that we grew up with. And then we started getting some Shaggy in the mix. And every time Shaggy comes on, I mean, it wasn't me, man. It wasn't me.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting that you say that, and I've highlighted this before because remember I was on that YouTube wormhole where I was watching the how the song was made videos. Mm-hmm. I watched the one on It Wasn't Me, and yep, there's a real life cheating story behind that, definitely for sure. Taught the whole world infidelity at a very young age for the two of us too. We learned how to cheat on your partner thanks to Shaggy. But yeah, Jamaican artist and a legend himself. When I went on my honeymoon in Jamaica, Mike, they were playing Shaggy songs left and right by the pools. Nice. So you'll be glad to know that Shaggy music is still reverberating through the islands in the Caribbean.
That's just fantastic. On a side note, don't cheat on the person you love.
Oh, okay, yes. Public service announcement from Course of Life. We're an anti-cheating on your spouse podcast, in case you were wondering.
You just celebrated your anniversary. Mine's coming up next month. Don't cheat on your spouse. Don't do it. Not a good idea.
Good memories. Love Shaggy. Love it.
Let's get into this week's guest. Alex, we all know Torrey Pines. It is one of the most historic venues in golf. 2008 U.S. Open with Tiger, the annual Farmers Insurance Open. And this week's guest is the event host at the Farmers.
Yeah, very cool having Alissa Kacar on. A lot of you know her as the new lady golfer on Instagram. You definitely follow her and her journey learning the game. But she does a really good job with golf content as well, both for this tournament and a whole lot more in the world. And it was cool to go behind the scenes on everywhere she's been.
We'll get into that conversation with Alissa in just a moment. But first, let's talk about my favorite golf ball out there on the course. It's what I played this weekend in our D3 golf match and what I play all the time right now. It is the Volvic XT Soft. It just provides me confidence everywhere on the course from tee to green. Makes me know that even when I'm shanking everything, it's not the ball's fault. It's my fault.
Definitely, yes.
Always my fault. And of course, it's bright yellow, so my ball sticks out from everybody else's, so I feel extra special out there on the course. And we all know that confidence is what really helps you play better and have more fun. And they've got even more colors in the number one matte finish ball in golf, which is the Vivid golf ball. And you can get a multi-pack and get all the colors in one box. That way you can have multiple options to match whatever color shirt you're wearing out there on the course. Volvic.com has merchandise, towels, accessories, and more, plus some really cool collectibles. So you can get everything and anything for the collectible fan and golfer of any age in your life. So head on over to Volvic.com. That's VOLVIK.com and get yourself performance in color.
Next up on the tee, we have the host of Golf Life TV, who also is the event host for the Farmers Insurance Open. You know her as New Lady Golfer on Instagram. It's Alissa Kacar joining the Course of Life. Alissa, thanks for hopping on. How are you doing?
Absolutely, Alex. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm doing great in a little bit of recovery mode, I must admit.
Yeah, I think so, because if anyone was following in the last few days, they saw your story feed was pretty busy. Tell everyone about the awesome event you were at with the legendary comedian George Lopez and kind of everything the event went towards and what the fun you were able to have there.
Yeah, it was an incredible event. Really well done. Up in LA. So the George Lopez Foundation supports raising kidney awareness and organ donation. And they look to work with children, adults, military families to help them in that area and sort of give them hope for a brighter future and support that cause. So
it's great.
It was a really great event. A lot of money was raised. And then the actual production of the event was incredible. It's like no charity golf event that I've ever been to. It was a 2-day thing with a big kickoff party on Sunday evening, and then an all-day golf event with a closing party last night. And I had a great time. And it was truly an honor for them to entrust me with the job of their social media host this year.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was really cool to see the content there. And you were right. Not one legendary 19th hole party, but two there. That's how you knew it was an all-out event. And George did a great job hosting. So that was really cool to see. Originally, how you and I got connected was a while back, Alissa, because we had a mutual connection in the bright brain of your coach, Mike Maggs, the Southern California Golf Academy. I know you guys had a relationship that goes way back sort of towards your beginnings with the game. Talk to me about working with him and how that relationship's grown over time.
Mike is an incredible coach. We've been working together now, I want to say, almost over 3 years, I want to say.
Yeah, it was 2020 when we had him on, so a couple years ago.
Yeah, and he had found me on Instagram, like back when I was first starting golfing and really the social media thing. And he had reached out and he's like, hey, I'm really looking to find somebody and coach somebody who seems passionate about the game, that's newer to the game, so we can kind of start from the beginning. I think we can create some really great content. Would you be interested? And, for me, somebody like I had really only had group lessons at Stadium Golf here in San Diego, a few one-on-one lessons, but
right.
I was really ready to make that jump into the one-on-one lessons and find a coach who would really get to know me, my tendencies, some of the habits that I had already built, and kind of get me to the next level. And, I kind of had like a pinch me moment yesterday morning at the George Lopez event I have videos of my swing and of my driver swing, like back with the beginning of Mike and like even a little before. And
the
then,
not so pretty beginnings of it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then I'm literally hitting the ceremonial first tee shot for the George Lopez event yesterday with the legend Lee Trevino. And I'm like, what is going on right now? So it's just been incredible. And Mike is such a great coach. He's so patient with me. He knows me very well by now and my habits and tendencies. And he still manages to, he actually makes it a point to find new ways for drills and how to, get to me and teach me the way that I learned best. And he's still doing that now after all this time. So it's been such a great partnership. And, yesterday I sent him the video. I messaged him and I was like, you need to see this video. Look what just happened. It's like, I love sharing those moments with him because it's kind of like a victory for both of us.
Yeah, he has a lot of fresh content. You're right. And no two tip videos from him are the same. And I appreciate he's bringing that to your lessons. I'm curious from an actual golf standpoint, what part of the game, or was it a specific shot or feature to golf that got you hooked in, a putt or a drive or a specific aspect of golf that made you fall in love?
I think it's just an athlete mentality. I've been an athlete my entire life and I played soccer all through college. And when I wanted to learn a new sport, I picked golf because I'm like, oh, this is great. Southern California lifestyle seems like I can be outside all the time. And it's a sport that I feel like I could play well into adulthood. I just wanted to like go all in because having that athlete mentality, knowing what it takes to get really good at a sport, I kind of already had that ingrained in my mind. So I was like, if I'm going to learn a new sport or learn something new, I'm going all in and I'm going to practice and I want to take lessons and I want to learn the right way. So I don't think there was a particular moment in golf that like made me want to dig in. It was more like, all right, if I'm going to do this from the outset, I'm doing it right.
Love that. And I know you came from kind of Northeast background and are spending a lot of time in California now, which is a really cool shift in culture indeed. And one event that you're as a mainstay on the PGA Tour that you're a big part of is the Farmers Insurance Open, like I mentioned, at Torrey Pines, just an awesome, timeless venue. Tell everyone a little bit about your duties as event host there and what you do kind of before, during, and after tournament week and throughout the year for that event.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of my favorite weeks of the entire year, the week of the farmers. It's an incredible event. You'd be so surprised to know that there's like a very small full-time team that works tirelessly throughout the year and obviously the months leading up to the event that make that event what it is. Like, it's actually really cool to see. And then I get the honor of showcasing their, all of their work behind the scenes and bring it to the forefront to make sure that our guests have the best time. So as the tournament approaches, things get really busy, but I do a lot of work with the sponsors. I do a lot of the logistical things. My job is to really make sure that all of the fans that are attending the event have all of the knowledge they need in order to have the best time for themselves at Torrey Pines at the Farmers. And then I get to do the fun stuff too, like I've played in the Pro-Ams before, and like
nice, yeah.
1 year I had the opportunity to do some fun interviews with some of the players. So I'm really I do a lot of work with the sponsors, do a lot of work with the Century Club, which is the nonprofit that runs the Farmers, with whatever they need as far as getting the logistical information to the guests. And then once the tournament kicks off, it's really all about fan engagement. So you'll find me running all around the course, showcasing all the different activations, places where fans can go get drinks, the merchandise tent stuff, any activations we have on course. Like this one, we had a really cool one. This year we had a really cool one with TaylorMade. So I just want to make sure the fans have all of the information they need, everything that's going on the course, so that they can have the best time.
That's awesome. You're basically like the curator of fun for the experience for all the tournament guests. I love it.
What an incredible job. I honestly pinch myself. It's such a great venue too. I mean, Torrey Pines, January, Southern California, like we have the perfect backdrop. We have this spectacular golf course, which when I see it in January, it's like so pure. It's just stunning.
Yeah.
And the weather, I mean, we've been so fortunate. We've had great weather the last 3 years. And, it's just such a great week.
One thing I thought you were about to mention, but I'll just mention it for you, is the timeless scene. We all know it, golf TV watching fans, when we associate it with the Farmers Week, is the paragliders right off the shore. So I got to ask about the paragliders. A, have you ever done the paragliding that we see like every single day off the shore at the event?
That would be a hard no. I much prefer to be on ground. But it looks really cool, and the announcers and the commentators are always referencing and talking about them, and it makes for really great photos for the photographers and provides, it just adds to the backdrop that is the Pacific Ocean and the blue sky.
Is that just like a normal everyday occurrence? There's that many paragliders out there?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, obviously it can depend a little bit on the weather, but there's generally some wind out there. And I played Torrey Pines maybe like 2 weeks ago, and they were out there.
Nice. Perfect segue. I was going to ask about you playing the course, and it's got so many memories. Not only, like you said, it's just a pure venue, but the memories of Jon Rahm winning the Farmers there and the U.S. Open there, and Tiger winning the U.S. Open on one. You could go on and on about memories from that course. What's your favorite part of getting back? And I feel you got to feel pretty spoiled just playing that course as often as you do, right?
Yeah, we're so lucky. It's a municipal course, so anybody can get on it. And if you're a resident of the city of San Diego, you can play it for, really cheap. We are very spoiled. But I want to say recently, during the US Open was it was the first time kind of fans were all back for the US Open right here in San Diego in my backyard. I got to do and work on the social media side of things with their team, which was, an incredible moment in my career for me.
Great week. Yeah.
But it was on the Sunday, and I was kind of following the leaders in Jon Rahm, and I was in the crowd watching him birdie 17 and then watched him birdie 18. And it was electric. I was like, oh my gosh. And then this year at the Farmers, we had a playoff, and it was between Zalatoris and Luke List. It was getting dark. We were like, oh my gosh, if it goes to more than one playoff hole, we don't know if we're going to have enough time. And then, you got all these emergency contingency plans kicking in, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes that people don't see. And then Luke List hit his approach shot on 18. I mean, he landed it. It kind of spun back. There's a little bit of a backstop on the green with that Sunday pin placement. And that thing just kept rolling almost towards the hole and just was like maybe a foot away. I mean, he hit the perfect shot at the perfect time. And it was an incredible finish this year.
It was, yeah. The tournament always creates great drama, especially with that 18th that you mentioned. Very cool stuff. Looking forward to more events at Torrey, of course. I want to talk a little bit about your journey in golf because you've gotten to play a lot of cool courses in your journey in the game. I want to ask specifically, I want to take you a bit up north of the state you're currently in.
Okay.
Your favorite Central North Cal course. I know there's the giant conglomerate, and you've been to probably some, if not all of these, with Pebble Beach and Spanish Oaks and Spyglass and Monterey Peninsula. There's so many cool, just like bucket list courses up there. Which one's your favorite?
Oh my gosh. Now you're just asking me. That's a really hard question. But most recently I played Pebble Beach, we had perfect weather. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better golf day. I was stunned. It's been on my list now since I probably started golfing. So
Everyone's,
yeah. On a perfect weather day, the course was in great shape. And I loved it. And then last May, so almost about a year ago now, I had the opportunity to play Cypress Point and Monterey Peninsula Country Club. And I mean, you don't get more bucket list than a Cypress Point. And for somebody who's so, newer to the game in the grand scheme of things, I mean, that was,
you skipped ahead to the final level pretty fast, Alissa. Nice work.
Honestly, I am so grateful. I've been so blessed. I like to think that I work really hard and hopefully, put myself in positions for these opportunities. But people have to see that value in me too and want to work with me. So, I've just been extremely blessed with the golf and the places and all the people and opportunities that I've received.
One other one that I got to ask for some deets on is the Bahamas trip that you went on. I think you had the opportunity to play the Royal Blue course, which is, I think, hosted a Champions Tour event at one point or another, or some other professional events. That looked like just a stunning, I'm a huge advocate of the beachside vacation plus fit in golf too. And then that looked like maybe one of the top spots to do it. What was your favorite part of that trip?
Yeah, so I've had the opportunity to play Royal Blue in Baha Mar twice now, and they have an amazing staff. Their director of golf is this guy named Andy Darrow, and he is just the perfect guy in that position. He's from the States. I believe he's from Vegas. And he's like all about facilitating his guests having a good time. And then I got to do a story. You mentioned the show that I host, Golf Life. They have the first female head pro in the Caribbean.
Oh,
so
wow.
I got to play with her. I got to sit down and talk with her about all the amazing things she's doing for youth golf in the Bahamas. And it's just a great story. So I love that course for many reasons. The golf is obviously amazing. They keep the course in tremendous shape. And then the people there that work there, like the entire staff, they're just great people. So I love that course for all those reasons. And then, yes, I was there on a trip with a big group, and Andy, treated us so well. We had four foursomes, and everybody had a great day.
Oh, that's amazing. Dream golf vacation stuff right there to have a group that size. So cool. One thing off course I want to mention, which is really neat as well, is you got to do something very cool with another past guest on the podcast, and Tisha Aylen as well, at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You got to get in a car and absolutely burn rubber. Tell me about that experience and how that came about, and what were your thoughts being behind the wheel?
That was an incredible trip. It was put on and produced by my agency, the Digital Golf Collective, in conjunction with Top Golf. And Top Golf is just a brand that gets it. They have a great marketing and social media team. They value what content creators do because they see major value in it. And they have the means to put on they called it a creator retreat. So they brought us all out there, had all these fun things set up for us to do and create content. And one was the thing you're referencing was we went to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway with Dream Racing. We got to suit up and race these amazing cars. I'd never done that before. So that was
so
really
neat.
cool. And we created some really neat golf content around that day as well. Like you wouldn't think, right? What kind of golf content are you creating?
Yeah, she was bouncing the ball with her wedge, right? As the car was spinning around her. Yeah,
exactly. And some of the guys were doing trick shots, and then we got to get on the track and race the cars, and it was really fun. They Dream Racing, and they have a very nice business there, giving people that opportunity, but in a very controlled and safe environment. You know, like I never felt like nervous. They have these like trained guys in there riding with you. They're telling you, you know, the entire time, guiding you, teaching you, and it just makes for an incredible experience.
What were you hitting? What were your top speeds there? How fast were you going?
You know, I think I got as close to like maybe like 120-ish.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I'd be going that fast. It's pretty impressive. Love it. Nice.
I was exploring it, and he would just tell me when to lift up, hit the brake, hit the gas, shift the, you know, I was just being a good student like I am of the game of golf.
Nice. Shout out to our friends at DGC and Top Golf as well. That's a great segue to our quick shot questions. Again, we're here with Alissa Kacar, new lady golfer on Instagram. Let's start there with Top Golf. Favorite Top Golf location? I know you've been to a lot of them. What's your favorite?
I'm going to have to go with Las Vegas. Oh, also, yeah. I'm sorry. And I'm going to also shout out the newest, which is in El Segundo, just north of me.
I saw that. Yeah.
I'll be back there soon too.
Okay. Love that. And the new lady golfer, at what point do we remove the word new from your handle on Instagram?
You know what? Golf always has a way of making me feel new. Just when I think
well put.
I'm like, oh gosh, no. Golf is like, just wait a second. Wait one more hole. You know, once I think I got my driver figured out, then my irons go. I got my irons going, then my putter, you know, so it's just, but now I'm with PXG. So they're, you know, my clubs are dialed.
Nice. All right. We'll keep the new for now. Yes or no to music on the golf course?
Yes.
And what type do you usually like to put on for yourself?
I'm really open. Kind of depends what mood I'm in, but lately I've been feeling more like 80s, 90s kind of music. And then, yeah, that's kind of my vibe right now out there.
Nice. And let's end with a positive note for your golf game before our 19th hole question. What's the best shot that you're hitting on the golf course these days?
Right now, my putter is, I have the closer from PXG, and it has just been my money club lately.
Oh, it's a putter called the closer. It's got to be, right? Nice. All right. It's time for our 19th hole question, brought to you by our friends at Links Drinks. When you get into the clubhouse, you've been to some really awesome ones. It could be Torrey, could be somewhere else. Mm-hmm. What is your go-to order and your favorite meal and drink to have in the 19th hole?
Okay. 19th hole drink is going to be a spicy, skinny margarita.
Nice.
And meal would be grilled fish tacos.
Nice. Very Cali answer of you there. And well put together too. I love it.
I'm converted from Jersey girl to Cali girl, but the Jersey girl will always be inside of me.
Nice. Love it. Alissa, thank you so much for hopping on the Course of Life. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to more of your content. And obviously, we'll be sure to connect the next time I get out to Torrey Pines for the event.
Please do. Sounds great, Alex. Thank you for having me.
And we're back. Great chat there with Alissa. Another throwback. He's hanging out with George Lopez, another icon of
that's right.
Our childhood.
I remember that sitcom being on forever. George Lopez had his own show on the Golf Channel as well, too.
Oh, man.
I haven't been to a stand-up show in a bit, though. Who's your favorite stand-up comedian of all time?
I think I speak for both of us when I say Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, probably pound for pound. That's the easy layup answer for us that we can kind of always go to. Yeah, I would definitely like to get out to some more stand-up shows, but it was really cool to see her interact with George. And it's neat to see kind of what she does for tournament week at the Farmers as well, too. That's a annually awesome event to attend. I really want to get out there. And I don't know if I'm adventurous enough to do the paragliding. Alissa didn't sound like she was either. Maybe one day, though. But it's a beautiful site there at Torrey Pines.
I'll do paragliding.
You give that a go out on the harbor? Okay. All right.
I think I would be willing to do parachuting, but I don't think the wife would allow me. But I think I might be allowed to do that.
That's your play, right? To sound all tough is be like, I would do it all, but the wife wouldn't let me.
The wife just won't let me. I'm sorry.
That's good positioning. I like that, Mike. Well done.
Hey, if you like that chat with Alissa, plus everything else we do here on this podcast, make sure you hit that subscribe button on the podcast app that you're using right now so you never miss an episode. Give us a rating, 5 stars, thumbs up, whatever you got. If you think we suck and you think having the likes of Alissa and Pat Monahan like we had last week and all these other great guests we've had on this podcast, give us a thumbs down. Tell us you don't like us.
Thumbs down, comment, like and unlike, subscribe and unsubscribe. Do whatever you want. The more interactions, the better. Right?
Yeah. Let's talk a little Boston sports. We are New Englanders at heart, even though I am, for whatever reason, a Yankees fan and a Giants fan.
Yeah, no one cares about baseball right now. So any sort of standings that you'd be talking about would be irrelevant to talk about.
Yeah, we don't care how the Yankees are so much better than the Red Sox in every possible way right now. What we care about instead is the 2 sports that are going through their 10-month postseason.
Yes, that's right. We had a back-to-back Game 7 weekend for Boston sports fans. Always fun. One was on the road, one at home. Saturday was the yuck. The Bruins got absolutely pummeled by the Carolina Hurricanes in their barn. So that's an end to that run and probably an end to that 11 Stanley Cup team, maybe. I don't know if that's going to be kept intact for another season. But the obvious highlight was Celtic pride on full display. We rally back after losing Game 5. Mike, when it's one of those 2-2 series and you lose Game 5, that's usually the end of the road for your team.
It is.
We're tougher than that. We won in Milwaukee Game 6 and got it done at the Garden for Game 7. Celtics head into the Eastern Conference Finals now, Mike. So we got Celtics Heat on the left, and then we got Mavs versus the Warriors on the right. Well, give me a random, uneducated NBA thought about those Final Four teams.
Let's go full Lisa Simpson method here. Let's look at who would win when the mascots fight. So the Celtics versus the Heat.
Lucky the Leprechaun versus a ball of fire. That's tough.
I'll always take luck over the Heat. I'll do that.
Fair enough.
And so the Celtics, and in the West Coast, we got
the Dallas Mavericks and the
which is a horse, right? They're a horse.
Yeah, and I don't really know what the Warrior is. It's open for interpretation though.
Okay, I'm going to go with the horse because when you get behind the horse, it kicks you, and then you're down for the count.
That's perfect. So Celtics Mavs final. I'll be making the drive up to Dallas in a week or 2. I like that plan.
There you go. And then I'm thinking if those two are fighting against each other, I think luck prevails, and the Celtics win it all.
Ride the 4-leaf clover. That's the plan here for the next week or 2. So we'll check back and see how the ECF goes for the Celtics.
For right now, though, that's hashtag always end with food.
Yep, brought to you by Toasty Bites, makers of Toasty Snacks, Super Bites, Pops, and a whole lot more great, healthy, on-the-go snacks for you at toasty.com/COL. Recapping an anniversary weekend for myself and my wife.
Happy anniversary, Alex.
Indeed.
How many years has it been?
Would you believe she's stayed married to me for 3 years and put up with all my BS?
You only got 4 more. They say if you make it 7 years, then you're good. So
okay,
you got
past
4
the
more
7-year itch. Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Sounds good. So we're 3/7 of the way there. We celebrated with a gigantic meal at Maggiano's, which we love to hit for our special occasions. We got that butter cake again, which we promised to get again. So that was the success. And then we did a fun little Hill Country winery tour. Spent the day at a nice winery where they had an Italian restaurant, fancy pizza, the whole 9 yards. So it was a good, relaxed, subdued celebration for the anniversary. What are you up to?
Nice. Very nice. This weekend, beautiful weather, which meant was at the grill. So I did a buttermilk grilled chicken.
Oh, buttermilk grilled. So explain what's going on there specifically.
So it's marinated in buttermilk with brown sugar, smoked paprika, garlic, thyme was in there as well, and there was a little cayenne and a little cumin as well in there, I believe.
Wow.
And marinated all day in it, and a whole chicken that you cut in half, and then you slap it on the grill and you grill it, and it's fantastic. It comes out super moist and flavorful, and it's got that great tang from the buttermilk. And it's healthier than frying it because you're grilling it. So
heavens, yes, yeah, no, good call. That's a nice little batter I can get on board with. Okay, nice marinade there. Buttermilk grilled chicken. It is. If you like that, our food content as well too is at Always End with Food Pod on IG. You can follow us at COL Podcast there as well. And that's a wrap on this week's episode. If you like this week's episode, we have another awesome one coming and a recap of all the action at the PGA Championship coming next week on The Course of Life. Until then, we'll see you next week.